Welcome to DCL Radio. You are listening to DCL Talk Show. Today is June 27th, and I have our regular analysts Imti and Jesse on the show. And we have a guest tonight is Chaitanya from TCA Stallions, and especially I invited TCA Stallions tonight because last year they were one of the contenders for the championship, DCL championship, and also I think they made it to playoffs almost every year from the inception, and first time they are into rebuilding mode. Before that, let me thank all the umpires who did a fabulous job last week, and with that, let me welcome our regular analysts tonight. Welcome to the show, Imti.
Thanks, Jagan, and I would like to take this opportunity to welcome all our regular listeners, and we have some exciting discussions today, so hopefully everybody will like it. Welcome to the show.
Welcome, Jesse.
Thank you, Jagan, and welcome all the listeners all over the world into another week of DCL 2019. Some exciting games have been played last week, and the good thing was I don't think there was any washed out games. So every team who wanted to get out onto the field and have some points added did that, and we have some exciting games over the coming weekend also. So it's turning out to be as it was expected to be one of the best seasons so far, and it's living up to the billing.
Okay, so we have with the coming weekend we will be finishing 2 months of the DCL 2019, and with that I'll welcome our special guest of the night, Chaitanya. Welcome to the show, Chaitanya.
Thank you, Jagan. Thank you so much for the introduction, and it has been pretty exciting tournament so far. One of our game got washed away, but that's okay. But as you said, Stallions. Okay, we'll talk about it. Yeah, welcome, guys. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yeah, we will talk about both of your games, and let's straight away get into our first segment of the night. We will do some analysis and discussion about last week's games. The first game of the night is Dark Horses Marcos versus Bulls. Imti.
Yes, Jagan. I think it turned out to be an easy game for Detroit Bulls, and rightly so. They are a highly ranked team, and Marcos is a newer team, so they were expected to win, and I think they did it comfortably and got the 5 points. Looking into the details of the game, Marcos, they won the toss and elected to bat. We have played against Marcos, and from personal experience, I rate the team as a very good team. They have very good players, like few good batsmen, and also very disciplined bowlers, I would say. But in this game, I think they really couldn't get off to a flyer. Or like they lost quick wickets in the batting, and the top order kind of failed here. And the total that they put on the board, 80 in 23 overs, was all thanks to the contribution by the lower order, thanks to Satya and Vinod, who put up close to 40 runs partnership, I think, for the 8th wicket. So, and also 12 extras by Detroit Bulls, helping them to post that 80 runs. 80 runs is not a big score this season. So halfway through, I think Detroit Bulls would definitely have fancied their chances. And Detroit Bulls, if you look at the bowling scorecard also, I think it was a distributed effort by all the bowlers, some disciplined bowling, and good economy rates I see in the bowling department for Detroit Bulls. So that's a good news for Detroit Bulls after a couple of losses in their previous encounters. I think this is a good welcoming sign for Detroit Bulls, I would say. Going into the chase, they finished the chase in 18 overs for the loss of 5 wickets, and I think Bharat Chodia was the mainstay in the chase, scoring 32 runs, and with the help of Rohit, kind of finished the chase. Again, like a little bit of indiscipline in the bowling there by Marcos, who gave 22 extras, which doesn't help when you're chasing a lower score. But then again, like that's how it is. Marcos, like they have good potential, but I think they need to come together as a team and start performing to win games so that they can make a mark in this season. So I would like to wish Marcos good luck and congrats Detroit Bulls for this comprehensive win.
Okay, our second game of the night goes to our guest of the night. It's a game between Dark Horses and TCA Knights. And I always thought TCA Knights is the second fiddle to Stallions. But, I mean, very first time TCA Knights winning, of course, it looks very close, but yet beating Dark Horses is always brings in new energy into any team. Your thoughts, Chaitanya?
Yes, you're absolutely right. Actually, yeah, both the Stallions and the Knights games were like in the side by side ground. So I was also closely following that match, and it went pretty exciting actually. Clearly, Dark Horses were the favorites in this game, and Knights was coming to TCA this year. Like we are totally rebuilding both Knights and Stallions. So after like a bunch of losses in a row, it was a moral win. I mean, it was a great win for Knights, I would say, with contributions in the batting department, excellent contributions from Harshavardhan Reddy and also Venkat and Chellam down the order. They made sure that they went over the line, and then they gave away a few runs in the bowling department. They gave like I mean. They bowled few extras. Like there were wides, there were so many wides, and also they got wickets in the regular intervals, but still they managed to give away 100 runs, like almost 30 runs in extras. So that's pretty bad, I would say, from the bowling department. But the batting department looked better from the previous games. That's what I would say. I mean, if they get better in their bowling and the fielding departments, and if they carry on with their batting departments like this, I think they'll go much ahead in this tournament.
Very well said. Okay, the next game of the night is Knockers versus FHCC. Before I go to Jesse, I just would like to give one entire league, all the teams that, you better start your game on time. This particular game started half an hour late, and it was booked from 9 to 1. Ground was booked from 9 to 1, and after that, base bowlers came in and they asked these teams to leave the field with yet 4 overs to go. So I request all the teams, please start your games on time. Okay. So now, even if our own team is coming there, it's very difficult for them to wait there half an hour to 1 hour extra, because nowadays we are traveling a lot. So with that, I'll hand over the mic to Jesse.
Yeah, thanks, Jagan. So this was actually a good outing for Knockers as far as the game goes. Didn't know that the game was stopped midway, but Knockers did pretty decently in the batting department, with Prabhu Mahadevia leading from the front, scoring 28 as an opener. And it always helps when your captain is scoring runs, and that too up front, up the order. It helps the team. And Shashank and Milan, we all know, is a class act. He's one guy, I think, who I would say is the best batsman in this lineup. Along with, there are a couple others too. So Shashank and Milan actually had a good partnership along with Prabhu, top of the order. But again, the middle order could not capitalize, and there was a decent contribution down the order from Manohara and 17 extras, which helped Knockers get to 114, which I think they should be comfortable with. But it's sort of a tricky total against an unpredictable side like FHCC. So they knew at the halfway stage that they are ahead, but not by much. So they have to pull up their socks and put up a better show with the ball, so that it's not a game that they are chasing, but they want to lead the game, so that 104 doesn't start looking like a 84 or a 94. And I think that's exactly what happened. Apart from Ali Abbas, who came one down, Knockers kept on chipping with wickets, and apart from Ali Abbas and Sayyid Al Asad, who batted at number 10, there weren't any significant contributions to talk about, and the Knockers team kept on bowling the dot balls and taking wickets, which helped getting the target out of the reach of the team. But when I now know that it was 87 for 9 in 21 overs, if you see, it was just a matter of 28 runs in 4 overs, which is very chaseable. But I would say the Knockers were still ahead. That FICC were 9 wickets down. But we have seen silly things happen in cricket, and it might have been another. It might have been another of those days when FHCC could have pulled a miracle with Alishan going berserk, but you just can't take things for granted. So I think the better team won on that day, but good fight put up by FHCC. Had they had a couple of other partnerships in the middle, they would have been able to apply more pressure on Knockers, and it would have been a much tighter game.
Okay, the next game of the night is FCC versus TCS Stallions, and it's the same story again. Till last year, if somebody asked me to predict a game between Stallions and FCC, I would have given 60% to Stallions and remaining to FCC. This year, probably everybody might have predicted FCC a guarantee win to FCC, but things changed on the field. Your thoughts, Chaitanya?
Yeah, this year has been a roller coaster ride for the Stallions because a few of the core team left, and then and even for me, this is the first time I'm captaining. Actually, this is the first time I'm captaining after a very, very long time. So, so yeah, it was a pretty good win for us. It was a pretty convincing win actually. We could have won in a much better situation last week, but there was a catch drop at like 70 for 9 or something for the FCC. FCC won like 70 for 9 or something, and there was a catch drop over there, so it had to go ahead. So, but yeah, these are all a part of a game, and yeah, coming to the match, yeah, we lost the opener for the first ball, but still, then later at the later stage, Meghasai and then Rohit Gaikwad, they maintained a pretty decent partnership for a while, and then they got out, and then me and Rohit, we got a pretty good partnership between us, like for a 40 run stand or something, which got us a pretty, I mean, I won't say pretty decent score, but it is a defendable score, I would say. We got a defendable score on the board, but yeah, the batting lineup of FCC was pretty strong with players like Hemant Kumar Chalwaya and Teju Kumar, who have been performing pretty good in the previous matches, and thankfully, thanks to our bowlers, they did a pretty good job. Hiran, Rohit, every bowler, I would say, they got early wickets they got like 4 to 5 wickets in like first 7 overs or so, which got us into the game within no time, and from there was the batsmen had so much pressure on them, and yeah, I mean, if you ask me, it's all about permutations and combinations, and it's all about who manages the pressure in the key moments. And then I think we held our nerves until the last moment, and we never gave up. And it was an excellent bowling and fielding performance from our team. So I think that got us the match.
Okay, the next game of the night is Lions versus GLCC. Jesse, your thoughts? I thought Lions, they have very good batting lineup. Somehow in this game, it's not there to be seen. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I actually umpired this game. To be honest, it should have been a much more interesting game. It should have been a closer fought game. Lions had so many moments in the game. When Shashi was batting, it looked batting was so easy, and they could have staged a couple more partnerships. Couple of the one of the guy who came as an opener was willing to get out. I mean, he wasn't, I think, judging the ones and twos at all, and he was supposed to run out sooner or later. So they got him pretty cheaply, and I mean, as a team, I think Lions are now pretty much experienced, and they understand that they have to value their wicket in a sense that yes, everyone has to take risk, but there has to be a relationship between risk and reward. But I think some of them just tried to play fearless cricket, and some of them couldn't do justice to what the other teams were actually planning out for them, and fell into the trap. And to be honest, this score should have read at least 91 instead of 61. The way a couple of their batsmen were going, and it was not that they because the tougher part. I mean, the spinners for GLCC, who always lead from the front, Bala and Samita. It was, I think, the debut game for Samita, and he's a fantastic left-hand bowler. He's a spinner, and he turns the ball pretty sharply. He's an asset for GLCC if used wisely. I was very, very impressed with the way he bowled and gave them the breakthroughs in the middle overs, along with Bala, who bowled well but had an off day. But yeah, I think Samish, Harish, and Akash all chipped in pretty well and bundled them out for 61, and which was always on the cards when Shashi got out. That was the important breakthrough, because until he was there, he was looking pretty good, solid, and getting the ones and twos going on. So when GLCC at the halfway stage were supposed to chase 62, I thought it would be a cakewalk, but Lions actually fought pretty well. And the reason I said this match should have been more interesting was I thought this should be over in 8-9 overs, but I think the first couple of bowlers were very good, both Vijay and Hemant. They and Sandeep also, he didn't have that good an over, the first one, but after that, Vijay and Hemant, they bowled excellently, and their captain Nataraj actually bowled a pretty tight spell until his last over. His figure reads 4 over 14 runs, but I think his last over cost him 8-9 runs. Before that, he was bowling in the right channel and asking a lot of good questions to the batsmen, and I think that's the result. He got wickets of Bala and Akash. But I think to win a game, it's important to not just win those little moments, but also to keep performing good for some longer durations. I mean, they have to think of them as a team who can give results. To be honest, I'm pretty disappointed with the way they let GLCC back in the chase also, after having them almost 4 down for, I think, 30 odd runs, and the last 30 were chased like there was no pressure at all. And all credit goes to Sudeep and Ashraf also. Sudeep was in particularly very sound with his strike rotation, and did not leave any bad balls without scoring boundaries over it. So I think it's a pretty comprehensive win for GLCC, but they had some nervous moments, especially when they were batting, and when Raj and Bala were dismissed, and after that Ajit went in, and they knew that some of the bowlers are pitching in the right areas. But I think the Lions need to take a lesson and need to do that for longer durations to get the results in their favor.
Okay, the next game of the night is MCC Miles versus Rising Stars. Imti.
Yes, Jagan. I think this was the most closely fought game for this week. It went down to the last ball, if I am reading the scorecard correct. Looks like it was uploaded at later part, not an online scored game. But I think this was a pretty closely fought game. Rising Stars winning it eventually with just 2 runs. Rising Stars batted first and scored 124 for 8 in the allotted 25 overs, thanks to some good contributions by their middle order. Like, I see a very consistent batting card there, like double-digit scores from their number 4 to number 8. So I think that shows that, like, everybody came in and tried to rotate the strike and keep the scoreboard ticking. That really helps any team that is batting first, and if they're scoring freely and able to rotate strike and gather those runs, I think it immensely boosts the confidence of the team. And I think that's what happened with Rising Stars here. And I think it was an easily scoring game where they put up 124, close to 5 runs and an over, and that is a very, very good score considering the likes of MCC bowlers. Again, like, Rising Stars has been a very, very much improved team this year, and they started off the season very well, and I think they're slowly and gradually building up that confidence while going into the season. So 124 on the board in 25 overs, they would definitely have fancied their chances in this game, and they should have been confident of defending the score. If you look at MCC Miles bowling, it was a decent effort. The pick of the bowlers was Praneeth with 3 wickets in his 5 overs, and then other bowlers chipping in with wickets. 15 extras, that was not bad. But then I think if you look at the scorecard for MCC Miles, they also started off the chase well, and they kind of rotated they lost the first wicket quickly, but then again I think the second wicket partnership steadied the ship a little bit. But then they started losing wickets, and until Brahma came in, who scored 30 runs with 3 sixes and 1 4, I think they were really like having the scoreboard pressure and the required run rate going up. And after that, I think really no help for Brahma from the other end, and they lost wickets consistently. So if I closely look at this game, I think the difference was, I think both the batting teams performed well, but I think it was the bowling department that made the difference. And to be specific, I think it is the extras that made the difference. MCC Miles, when they bowled, they gave away 15 extras, and Rising Stars, when they bowled, they only conceded 8 extras. So that kind of shows if you're a disciplined bowling unit, that also can win you games. So that's what I would credit this win to Rising Stars for their absolute beautiful bowling performance. And even though the game went down to the wire, I think they held their nerves and got the key moments in this game. Rising Stars bowling, pick of the bowlers, Brijesh Dave with 4 wickets for 19 runs in 5 overs, and then some useful contributions by their other bowlers, picking up a couple of wickets each. So, like I said, again, like extras could have been the difference in this game. So close a margin, but again, like 4 points in the kitty for Rising Stars. So very well played, and it was a very entertaining game, looks like.
Okay, next game of the night. Anytime a team wins by 75 runs, it's a nightmare for opposition. They wanted to finish the game as quickly as possible, and at least if I were there, that's what I'll be thinking. Okay, it's Brownstone versus Tamil Pasanga. Jesse, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I'm seeing now for so many years. This I mean, there is, if you ask one team who can come back from any situation, I think most of the votes would go for Brownstown. I mean, you take that result, they won by 75 runs, and after I think 40 minutes or so into the game when it was started, if you tell Brownstown that they would go and they would go ahead and win this game by 75 runs, I think most of them would have laughed themselves with the kind of start that they had got. I mean, the scorecard reads 2-1-2, 14-0. I mean, top 4 getting out for single digits. There was just one contribution in the top with 14 runs.
Interesting observation.
And then suddenly something happens, and they just look at each other and say that, guys, we have let it slip too much. Let's pull it back, and they are able to do that pretty often. And it was no exception in this match also. From a bizarre start, they went on to reach 122 thanks to Rashid, Mansab, all attacking players. Itasham Hasnain was the pick of the batting lineup. Surprisingly, every time I see Brownstown, there is a number 9, number 10, or number 11, and they are all different every time. That has the most significant contributions in their batting lineup. So you put anyone in Brownstown team and get them play at number 9, 10, 11, they'll start playing like openers. And I think it's a fantastic comeback. And if you see, they didn't even play their 25 overs, but still scored 122 runs. That also explains the kind of approach that they took in this game. I think everyone went after the bowlers, and it was Itasham, Mansab, and Rashid who had their turn on the given day after Pradeep played his part. So they reach 122, and I think they would have backed themselves to defend this 122, but not the way that not that easily that they got to there. So they bundled out the Tamiz Pasanjay batting lineup for 47, and I think Satya Narayan from Tamiz Pasanjay actually would be, if you say hard done, he actually took 4 wickets, and most of them were the top order wickets, but I think when if he would have came back into the second spell, he was expensive. So 122, he would have still thought, and Thomas Pasanja would have still thought that if they can get to 122 after such a disastrous start, even we can. But I think Brownstown had other ideas, and literally nobody apart from Karan Kumar Mamidi scored into double digits, and the result is 13 from one guy, 11 extras, and 47 is the total score, which Brownstown get Tamis Pasanji all out for, and Afsar Mujahid Ali, Mohammad Shahzad Kamar, and Mansab Butt, so all taking 3 wickets. And so Mansab Butt had a pretty good all-round game. He's a great all-rounder who always likes to take the attack to the opposition, even no matter if he's batting or bowling. And I think he got top order 3 wickets and a useful contribution of 20 runs. So I think it's a well-deserved victory for Brownstown, but they would rather have a less nervy time top of the order and making comebacks every time in the playoffs. So I think they need to be wary of the fact that there would be teams who wouldn't let them come back in a high pressure game or in a knockout game. So I think they would be scratching their head as to why it happens all the time. But I think as long as they are producing results, no matter from where they come back, they'll take it.
Okay, the next game of the night is Pokhris versus KRCC. If somebody, this is a game where you don't mind paying to watch this game. Pokhris versus Knight Riders. Your thoughts, Imti?
Yes, Jagan, and absolutely that was the reason I got a chance to umpire this game, and I took it in a wink. So going into the details of this game, I think Pokhris were okay. To start off, I think KRCC was more disciplined in this game compared to Pokhris, and it was a close game. Obviously, it was touted to be the game of the week with some background from last year where Pokhris came back from a bad situation and won the game thanks to Prasanna. We all remember that game still now. So I think it was time for KRCC to kind of prove themselves and redeem from that loss from last year. And I think they did that in this game very convincingly and comprehensively. KRCC won the toss and they elected to field, which I thought was a little surprising. But again, I think Satish knew what he was doing, and I think he was bang on, because as soon as Pokhris went into bat, they got the openers pretty cheaply, and it looked like a very good decision to bowl first there. Then after the first 2 initial wickets, I think the middle order kind of stabilized the innings thanks to Vignesh, Neil, and Prasanna, like the stalwarts of their batting department, are scoring pretty good there and kind of stabilize the innings. But I thought they really never got off, and they never got the momentum to score freely. And it was some good tight bowling by KRCC, and they were not letting easy runs at any point of time. Like there was a moment in the game where the KRCC bowler, one of the KRCC bowlers, was hit continuously for 2 over the covers. At least 3 or 4 in the same over, but still they came back strongly. The fielding was tight and their catching was good, and I think that really did not allow Pokhris to take off at any point of time. If you look at Pokhris' batting lineup, it's like loaded with batsmen all the way down till number 9, where Arun Saminathan is coming at number 9. So that tells you a lot about Pokhris' batting scorecard, and at the same time, the way KRCC bowled in this game, restricting that kind of a batting lineup to 93 is a very, very good performance, I would say. So, like I said, even the bowling was very disciplined, just 7 extras. Anytime you see a single-digit extras, I would say that was brilliant bowling performance. And that restricted them to 93. And if you look at the bowling performance for KRCC, Sahesh and Nalin were pick of the bowlers, picking 3 wickets each. And if you look at the economy rates, everybody was bowling very good and less than 4 runs per over. So going halfway into the game, KRCC was pretty confident of chasing it down. But then again, we all know how Pokhris team usually is. They kind of come back from impossible situations, and I think they were also confident that they could have defended the score. But I think somehow their bowling department did not meet the expectations here. they did get the openers pretty cheaply, but then again, how it happened in Pokeri's innings, where the number 3, 4, 5 kind of steadied the innings and took up the challenge. I think KRCC batsmen also did the same. I would really like to credit this guy Vihar Vaidya, who scored only 18 runs, but then he stayed there, soaked up the pressure of the chase, and he made sure that KRCC did not lose wickets. And I think that was most critical in this innings, where it was not a big score to chase comparatively, but they just had to make sure that they had wickets in hand, and they obviously had the batsmen that could just go and score those quick runs in the end if needed. And I think that is what exactly happened when they lost some wickets in middle, and then the required rate was going about 6 per over. And Abhishek Verma, their keeper, I think he made the quick runs in the end, with scoring 25 from 17 balls with 3 huge sixers down the ground. So, like I said, I think Abhishek scored the more number of runs, but I would definitely give credit of this victory to Vihar, the way he batted and the way he soaked up the pressure in the chase, I would say. So if you look at the bowling department, not really much to talk about. I think they were decent enough, but they were not attacking enough to pick wickets at regular intervals. They did get some wickets here and there, but somehow I felt it was a little lacking when we compare Pokeri's team from prior years. I think this year their bowling looks a little weaker than their batting, which was always one of their strengths, and how we know the Pokeri's team. So I think it's not a bad thing for them to happen at this stage in the league. I think they can definitely work on their shortcomings and definitely bounce back very strongly. We know Pokeris, and they're bound to make playoffs, so that is everybody's expectation. So hopefully we all will see these two teams in the playoffs, definitely so.
Okay, the next game of the night is MI Rangers versus Risers. Chaitanya.
Yeah. So we played against MI Risers last year, and they were a pretty good, decent bowling unit, which is also evident this year. As we look at the scorecard for this year, they got Risers for like 65 all out. So that is a very, very nice bowling effort by them. Speaking about Risers, they definitely need to. I mean, looking at this scorecard, they definitely need to work on their batting lineup or batting performances. But however, their bowling performance was pretty nice. They got 7 wickets and some pretty early wickets of MI Rangers in the beginning. And speaking about MI Rangers, yeah, as I said, they are a very nice bowling unit, and that is pretty obvious from the scorecard. Ifti with a brilliant spell and also very nice batting, he got MI Rangers the game. But I think they still need to focus on their batting department, because they're losing 7 wickets losing their openers and also losing 3-4 wickets in a pretty early stage, I think, which should have been pretty scary for them. But still, they won the match. But yeah, MI Rangers is a pretty good team. I think if they work on their batting lineup and their batting performances, they'll go much ahead in this tournament.
Very well said. The next game of the night is Canton 11 versus Strikers, Imti.
Yes, Jagan, when I saw the result for this game, I was a little shocked in the beginning. But then again, looking at the season for Strikers, it has been a hot and cold season for them so far. And they won 3 games, lost 2 games. One of the game they lost was against Risers. I think that kind of dented their confidence a little bit. And Canton 11 absolutely a very good team. They have very good players in the ranks, and I think Strikers needed to bring their A game here, but somehow fell short in this game. Strikers won the toss, selected to bat, did the right thing there. I think any team would fancy the chances batting first and putting up a big total. They did that here. They scored 102, maybe a 25 run short of what is expected from Strikers. I think they were missing their gun player Raj in here. But again, nevertheless, not taking away any credit from the players that played in this game, and as ever, their mainstay of the batting, Rahul Chaoji, who is a very consistent player for strikers. Again, scoring again in this game, 38 from 40. That kind of tells you that it was a run a ball innings and kept rotating the strike. And if you see, there were no boundaries in that. I don't know if that is accurate, but it is easily believable that he can score that many runs without hitting any boundaries. So again, like, he got some good contributions from their captain Pardev, scoring 18 runs, and some other contribution from Vamshi, scoring 13 runs in the middle order. That helped them cross the 100-run mark. But then again, like I said, like it is definitely 20-25 and short of what they're capable of against Canton 11. So I think it was mainly credit to Canton 11 bowlers, where Haider Bhatti, who has been performing excellent in this league so far. In the last few games, he has been the pick of the bowlers for Canton 11, and yet again proving that in this game, picking 4 wickets for 18 runs. And I think, if I'm not wrong, Haider is sitting on top of the table with the number of wickets this season. So that is a good feeling for a bowling unit, when you have a bowler who is attacking and getting wickets for you, and then you have bowlers who are supporting him and picking up wickets consistently, like Javed, Shivam, and Raza Ali, who are there like regular bowlers and picking up wickets, supporting the main bowling unit. So, like I said, 102 halfway through the game, Canton 11 would have definitely fancied their chances, because they have very good batting compared to their bowling. If you ask me Canton 11 strength, I would say it's their batting. So 102 should have been an easily chaseable target for Canton 11 halfway through the innings, and rightly so. But strikers had other plans, where they picked up quick wickets, the openers getting out cheaply, and then also, like, I think they lost 3 wickets for the loss of not much on the board. But then again, like Raza Ali, who we have known for so long now, and he's a very good all-rounder, scoring 45 runs, and I think that was the crucial innings of the chase, where scoring 45 in 56 balls, just 1 boundary and 1 6 in that innings. We know Raza Ali, he kind of hits big shots, but then again, this innings, if you look at, there are not a lot of boundaries. It's more of rotating the strike and collecting those runs. And he was beautifully supported by Mohammad Usman, Hari Prasad, and Haider Bhatti again. Looks like he's a very good all-rounder. Haider, 15 runs not out. So, like, when you have a double-digit scores in the middle order, that really helps the chasing team, because the required run rate pressure is what you really need to fight against when you're chasing. And like, after the initial wickets, I don't think Canton 11 gave away any easy wickets in the process. But like, they lost 8 wickets, but they chased down the score, scored 107 in 24.3 overs. So looking at that overs again, it was comparatively a tighter game than I expected. So it went down to the last over. So that shows the importance of Raza Ali's innings, and also Haider Bhatti down the order, who stayed not out and made sure that they crossed the line. Again, if I look at this innings again, the extras is where. Oh no, it's the same extra. Sorry, it was the other game that I was. Sorry. So if you look at strikers bowling, I think Rahul Nikam was the pick of the bowlers, picking 3 wickets, and then Rohit and Kapil picking 2 wickets each. The economy rates seem to be a little on the higher side, so maybe that is where they lost the game. The bowling did not support their batting that much in this game. So strikers, I think they need to pull up their socks a little bit, because they are expected to make it to the playoffs. But again, like, losses like this might hurt them in the process. So I would really hope strikers come back strongly in their next games.
The next game of the night is Panthers versus Glads. Rather than talking about this game, I mean, I'll ask Jesse a simple and straightforward question: who can beat Glads?
I think I understand where you're getting to. It's a champion team, to be honest. It's a really tough team to beat, and you can't think of too many teams who can actually beat Glads when they are on song and have their best 11 playing. They have all the bases covered. They have, I think, the best 11, the combination when it comes to bowling, batting, and fielding as an all-round side. So, and I think in the high-pressure games, the difference between the two good teams isn't judged by the number of good individuals, but how they handle the pressure situation. So I think it's the best team of the league at the moment, but you just cannot take things for granted and cannot put your money every time on a team just because of the reason that they are good on paper. You have to put a show on the field, and I think that's exactly what Glads did in this game too. And this game actually turned a nightmare for Panthers. It's a decent team, Panthers, but when you read the scorecard, it's looking like as if they were playing for the first time. Got all out for 34, and the other team chased target in 3.2 overs. I mean, only thing I can say is game started with bang for Glads and ended pretty much the same way. And Satya in the bowling department and Ronak in the batting department did exactly what was needed to finish off the game in inside 17 overs, including both sides. So I think you called it right. There's nothing much to discuss about this one, and congratulations, Glads.
Okay, the next game of the night is Legends versus Raptors. Chaitanya.
Yeah. I think this was. I mean, I haven't followed the scores of other games, but I think this was the most exciting match for me last weekend. It went pretty close. I was closely following the score of this game because a couple of my friends were playing this. So, yeah. I mean, what can I say? They're both table toppers of the Group 2, and it was expected to be a pretty tough fight, and it was a pretty tough fight. Raptors getting all out for like 94 runs in almost 25 overs, and then Legends closely chasing it like with 8 wickets down in 23 overs. I mean, it was a nice performance from both the sides, I would say. But as I said, the better team, the guys who managed to keep their nerves in the last moment, won, I guess. That's the only thing I can say about this game. No extras bowled by both the sides. Not so many extras. I mean, there was not so many boundaries scored. I'm sure it went pretty head to head until the last minute. It was a pretty nerve-wracking game, I would say.
Okay, the next game is Mustangs versus Kings 11. Before we get into this game, I would like to say thanks to both the captains because the field they played is changed in the last second, and so I mean, without any complaints, they went there and they played, and I must say thanks for their cooperation. And your thoughts, Imti, on the game?
Yes, Jagan, I think that was a very good point you mentioned. I think teams like this makes the league more proud. So going into the game, I think Kings 11 actually made this comfortably in the end. We know Kings 11 has been part of this league for a while now, whereas Mustangs is relatively a new team, still trying to find their foot in this league and know how to play. Like when I say how to play, like trying to understand the league and improve where they have to. So Kings 11 won the toss and they elected to field. Again, surprising decision in DCL, but I think in the end it proved out to be a right decision. So they restricted Mustangs to 75 in 23 overs. So that really tells that like they were bowling pretty tight. And if you look at the scorecard for Mustangs, not much to talk about. There were some individual contributions in the scorecard, a couple of double-digit scores here and there, but not real solid partnership. If I look at the fall of the wickets, like the only notable partnership I see is for the second wicket, 22 runs, and other than that, there is not much. Again, like very down the order for the 8th wicket, there is some 25 odd runs. So Mustangs maybe really never got any momentum in his innings, and they were restricted for 75 for 10 thanks to bowling by Kings 11. Pick of the bowlers being Gautam, picking 4 wickets in his 5 overs, and very well supported by Vamshi, who picked up 3 wickets here. And if you look at the Batting the second innings, Kings 11 having to chase 75, that would have given them a lot of confidence that they're chasing a low score. And when they went into bat, all they had to do was like save the wickets and stay there. They would have won it easily. I think Kings 11 started their innings, but they lost some quick wickets, lost 2 wickets within 6 overs for 11 runs. But then again, the third wicket partnership between Sunil and Vamsi kind of put 36 runs partnership there. And I think that kind of gave them the foundation and the required stability and momentum for the chase. And Pradeep Kumar coming down the order, scoring those 24 runs in 6 balls. That looks, he hit 3 sixers. So yeah, so that was a very brutal finish in the end, and finishing off the game in 15 overs. So it was a pretty easy win for Kings 11 Detroit. They have lost few games, but I think the win against Falcons gave them the confidence, and I think they just need to build onto that momentum and confidence and put in more impressive performances going forward in the league. So good luck to Kings 11.
Okay, the next game of the night is Falcons versus SSK. Anytime any team that beats Falcons, they can pat themselves, especially if you beat them by 25 runs, 24, 25 runs. Your thoughts, Jesse?
Yeah, I think this, I can't really put into words how this season for Falcons have been going on. I mean, you tell a team at the start of the season that their first game is against Knockers, who is one of the top 2 teams, I would say top 2-3 teams, and you tell them that you get to know they won that game and they played pretty nicely with, and the Knockers were actually not weak on that day. Also, they had pretty good spin attack. Deepak was playing, and everyone chipped in for Falcons and helped them win. But after that, it has been all south. It has been pretty bad, especially when it comes to batting department. But I think this was a failure in both batting and bowling department. They lost their last game, and I think what I can see here is the confidence of the team is not there at all. The feeling of a team is not there at all, because if a team like Falcons have the opponent 61 for 8, I truly believe they shouldn't let them score 110. I mean, number 10, number 11, 9, 10, 11 can contribute 42 runs. I mean, there has to be something wrong. They had the game under their control. They should have just pressed the pedal hard and got them out for less than 80 and then chased that easily. But I think SSK deserves a lot of credit here. They were up against a side who was down in confidence, and still they didn't have the best of the starts. But I think Yuvraj Shanmugam played a brilliant knock of 43 in 61 balls with 2 fours and a 6, and was ably supported by Philip and Arun Thinakaran as number 8 and number 11 batsmen. And when they would have got 110, I think they would have fancied their chances. They would have backed themselves to defend this one, and for that, what was needed was a good start and to dismiss the openers cheaply, and they did exactly the same. They dismissed both Dilip and Shashank. I think the two of the finest in the Falcons lineup, along with Sudhir and Siddharth for Ducks. And I heard Manjunath Reddy Yetappu bowled some of the best balls as creating those weird left hand angles where balls should have came in, but it seemed after pitching as if it was a cutter, but it was not. It was at a pretty decent clip. So I think they had their plans. They executed them perfectly. They had the Falcons team chasing 111 on the back foot from the very outset, dismissing openers pretty cheaply. But I think Sudhir still did what he does best, and scoring 25 of 39, rotating and not just bogging down and giving respect too much to the opponent that you had our openers dismissed, and you have our one of the most successful batsmen for the Falcons, Sainath, also dismissed pretty cheaply, but still we'll keep on coming with 2-3 runs every over so that we are in the game. We are not always behind the 8 ball. So I think Sudhir did pretty decently, and I think the turning point when it comes to chase, and I think for the overall match, there were two turning points when the Falcons team let the number 9, 10, 11 score those 40 odd runs, and after that the wicket of Sudhir, I think, which opened the gates again, and there was no one to stop the floodings. As I think there is nobody taking responsibility in Falcons batting lineup who was missing their captain also, and I think it's really high time. I think Falcons should sit together as a group and say that we have won a match which we might not have thought we would win against knockers. So we are still into the game pretty much. We have some difficult matchups, but we have let the result go against us in couple of games that we should have won. But if we'll not control this right now, we might be looking into a season which they would like to forget pretty soon. I think they have everything. They just need confidence, and I think they can get that by one result, which they would have thought they would get against SSK. But a lot of congratulations should go to SSK for doing what they did to Falcons, and I think SSK would draw a lot of confidence out of this game and would be a decent opponents for all other teams also.
Okay, before we go to our last game of the night, I would like to also extend thanks to Falcons and SSK teams. Both played with one neutral umpire. Cumulative mistake by committee for not setting up right guidelines for umpiring request, and captain of Blues for not properly wording his request, or at least subject line error. So once again, thanks to Falcons and SSK for playing with one neutral umpire. Last game of the night tonight is Dynamites versus Troy Hawks. Dynamites really played well. Chaitanya, your thoughts?
Yeah, I was looking at the scorecard and I thought it was a very close game. I mean, but it was mostly the bowlers who did the job for both the teams, I would say, because not too much, not a big batting performance from either sides except from Kaushik and Troy Hawks, who I think he scored half of the runs of Troy Hawks. So yeah, speaking of the loser team, they really need to work on their batting and also bowling. I mean, they did a pretty decent bowling job, but looking at the extras they bowled, I think that's one place where they need to work. If they had controlled extras in their last game, who knows, they might have won, I guess. And yeah, speaking about Dynamites, yeah, they're a very nice bowling effort, minimum wides from them, and yeah, they also need to work on their batting, all single-digit scores in their batting too. But still, yeah, it was a pretty nice bowling attack from Troy Hawks. So yeah, this game also could have gone either ways. It could have been either of the teams, but I think Dynamites have got the edge in the form of wides, I guess. That's how they won, I guess.
Okay, and with that we have finished our first segment. This last segment is predictions, which we will do very quickly. Before we go to predictions, I have a question for Imti. Imti, when you are chasing, at what point of time you get bonus point, or at what point of time the bowling team gets the bonus?
Okay, as far as I understand, if you're chasing, you have to chase the total in 21.4 overs to get the bonus point.
Okay, Dynamite
if you're defending
in 23 overs, yet they got the bonus point.
So, okay, so that is not right.
Yeah. No. So we found some glitch in the calculation and we are fixing it, and probably, it's lucky that we identified this one. Okay. And
I was about to get this point up.
We just found, last week we found that one. And let's quickly get into the last segment of the night. The first game of the night, TCA Knights versus Risers. I'm not putting any pressure on Chaitanya. I'm going to ask you guys. I'll start with Jesse. TCA Knights versus Risers.
Yeah, I'll pick Risers.
Risers. Imti.
Yeah, Risers for me too.
Okay. The next game of the night is FCC Agni versus Blazers. As you both play for Blazers, I'll ask Chaitanya to pick between FCC Agni versus Blazers. Who is going to win?
Um, I mean, I don't know. It might be a tough game, but yeah, I've umpired FCC Agni game last year. They were a pretty good side, so they might have an edge. But I'd pick Blazers.
Okay.
But you never know. They might pull off a miracle, I guess.
Okay. The next game is Gladiators versus Dark Horses. I'm going by the record. Gladiators 3-0. Any objections?
Yeah, I think
No.
that's yeah.
Okay. The next game is TCS Stallions versus Raptors. I'm not going to ask Chaitanya again here. Jesse.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be Raptors.
Imti.
Yeah, same here. Raptors after their last game against Legends, so they would definitely pull up their socks to win this one.
Okay. The next game of the night is Indus Bulls versus Alter. Okay, I'll start with Chaitanya.
Indus. I mean, we played against Indus. It's a decent team, but yeah, I'd pick Indus.
Okay. Jesse.
Yeah, I'll pick Indus too.
Imti.
Yeah, I'll pick Indus Bulls. I think this is a much needed game for Bulls and good chance against Alters to get their confidence back.
Okay. Game of the weekend is Knockers versus Rockers. Is what I'm thinking. Okay. I'll start with Chaitanya.
It's a pretty tough choice to make, but I'd pick Knockers.
Jesse.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a great game. I'll pick Rockers here.
Okay, now I can't say Rockers because Jesse picked Rockers. So no, I was actually thinking the same, that Rockers might actually win this one. Rockers for me.
Cool. The next game of the night is Kings 11 versus FCC. This is going to be a tough one. Chaitanya.
FCC.
Jesse.
Yeah, I think FCC will win this one. Yes.
Imti.
FCC, but I think this will be a very closely contested game also.
Okay. GLCC versus Tamil Pasanga. Going by records, I'm thinking GLCC all the way.
Yes.
Any objections? Okay.
No.
The next one is Troy Hawks versus Rising Stars. This is going to be a very interesting game of the weekend. Chaitanya.
Going Troy Hawks versus Rising Stars. I don't know. I guess I'll pick Troy Hawks.
Troy Hawks. Okay. Jesse.
I think this is a matchup between two very improved teams, and I think Troy Hawks have actually demanded a lot of respect from all the opponents by giving those consecutive decent performances. I think it would be a good matchup, but my take would be Rising Star will clinch this one.
Imti.
Yeah, I'll also pick Rising Stars. Nothing to take away from Troy Hawks, but I think the way they started and then after that a couple of results going against Troy Hawks might be a little low on confidence. Whereas on the other hand, Rising Stars, they're performing well and they have the momentum and confidence going in their way. So Rising Stars.
Yeah, somehow my heart is also saying Rising Stars. The next game is going to be, very good game. Lions versus Stingers. I'll start with Chaitanya.
Sorry, who? Lions versus?
Stingers.
I don't know both of the teams, so I'll just have to pick a random name, I guess. Lions.
Jesse.
I think Stingers will take this one.
Okay, Imti.
I would like Stingers to win this one, but I think Lions will take the game. Lions for me.
Okay, somehow my heart is saying Stingers. Okay, Marcos versus Safaris. This is going to be another interesting game. Chaitanya.
I would say Safaris.
Okay, Jesse.
Marcos for me.
Imti.
Yeah, same Marcos for me. We have played against both of them, and I think on paper and on field, I think Marcos is definitely
better team. Okay. FHCC versus Southfield Super Kings. Wow, this is another good game. Chaitanya.
Going by the record of this season, I pick Southfield Super Kings.
Okay, Jesse.
I think this would be a complete opposite to what Southfield Super Kings played last week. I think they played a less lethal bowling unit, but a better batting unit, which they were able to overcome. I think they are up against a better bowling unit than the batting side. So I think Southfield Super Kings should win this one, having the confidence of beating Falcons.
Okay. Imti.
I somehow feel FHCC will win this one.
Okay. The next game of the night is Indus Thunders versus Blues. I'm thinking Indus Thunders 3-0. Any objections there?
Yeah, I think Indus Thunders.
Okay. Next game of the night is Knight Riders versus Dynamites. I have to ask you guys here. Both are good teams, and I'll start with Chaitanya.
I think it's going to be a pretty close match, but I'll go with Knight Riders.
Jesse.
Yeah, I'll go with Knight Riders, but I think this might be the most closely fought game of the weekend.
Okay, Imti.
I'll also go with Knight Riders, just based on what I have seen of both the teams so far in the league. So I think Knight Riders has a slight edge over Dynamites.
Okay, last game of the night is Detroit Bulls versus Strikers. Chaitanya.
I think Strikers.
Jesse.
I mean, it might be a close match, but yeah, Strikers.
Yeah, I think Strikers too.
Imti.
Yep, Strikers for me too. But again, like based on what we have seen so far, this will be a very good game, contested between two equally able teams. Strikers a little low on confidence, and Detroit Bulls coming off of a win from last week, so it will be a very good game. But Strikers in the end, yeah.
Okay, with that, we'll conclude tonight's show with the last words from all our analysts and our guests. I'll start with Imti first.
Yep, I'd like to thank all our listeners for listening to us day in, day out. And I wish all the teams playing this weekend all the best. And I think the temperatures are going to be a little high, so just be careful of that. And then, like I said, good luck to all the teams. And thanks to Chaitanya for joining us on the show today. Thank you.
Thanks, Imti.
Jesse.
Yeah, thank you all the listeners, and it's a pretty exciting weekend this time. When we were just discussing the matchups, I realized this would be a very, very good weekend for the cricket and the fans following it, and the players who are playing in it. So as Imti said, temperatures would be on higher side, and I hope weather holds pretty good, and keep yourself hydrated to perform at your very best. And let's see who comes on the right side of the result in these interesting matchups.
Okay, Chaitanya, your last words. Yeah, thank you so much for inviting me in the first place, and thanks, Imti, and thank you so much, guys. Thanks for having me, and I really appreciate the organizers. I want to appreciate the organizers of DCL first place, because for organizing in such a wonderful manner, and I mean, apart from some glitches here and there, I think it's a really well organized tournament. Thank you for that, and thank you for the listeners, and also all the best for all the teams who are playing this weekend. And I hope, I mean, some people have to lose, but I hope everyone wins.
Okay,
thank you so much.
Very well said. Some people have to lose, but yes, at the end of the day, cricket is what we love, and everybody.
Yeah, just go out there and enjoy yourself.
Enjoy yourself. Yes. Okay. With that, we will conclude tonight's show. Thank you, Imti. Thank you, Jesse. Thank you, Chaitanya. This is DCL Radio. This is DCL Talk Show on DCL Radio. Keep listening, DCL Radio. Thanks a lot. Good night.